Hi there, Higher Running Coach and Hoke Athlete Sage Kennedy here. The Training Talk Tuesday, we're going to talk about the anatomy of a 100-mile training week, 161K, on the trails mostly, with also a lot of climbing. It's not just running that distance. We're also talking about 19 hours of training for me and 21,500 feet of climbing. That's about 6,550 on the meters there. For a 161K week at high altitude on the trails. Of course, I am training for the TDS race coming up next Monday, and I didn't do this last week. I did this was July 31st through kind of the first week of August, so that 7-day span. And I will put that into context because a lot of people throw around, the gold standard of running 100 miles a week. I did it a lot. I started running 100 miles a week when I was 20 years old in college, training for track 5Ks basically. It's a pretty extreme amount of mileage. Most of you out there, it's probably not in your best interest to try to run this. A lot of people would get hurt. A lot of people could handle it if they had the time to train. Keep in mind, I was running Division I college, and then I've been a sponsored pro ever since then. So, I have time on my side. I don't have a full-time job where I have to report to a boss. Sandy and I do work quite a bit, but we don't have kids, we don't have family obligations. So, spending 19 hours, or in the case of road running, it was more like 15 hours or 14 hours, because I was running on the flats at a faster pace. That's a huge time commitment, and you have to slowly work your way up to this. So, a lot of people we found, if you're running half this volume, 80K per week, 50 miles per week, or 60 miles per week, 100K per week, that's a really good stimulus for even ultramarathon events. So put that in context there, and put that in context that, I've been running for 25 years year round, and I've been fortunate with no major overuse injuries that have taken me out for, no bone breaks or anything, stress fractures from running. So, buyer beware. Safety is staying healthy and consistent is the name of the game. But I was getting extreme because I want to do well in TDS. And for me, putting in this big volume, that time on feet, that vert was really important. And this is kind of just an example of how someone might structure it with quality workouts. It's not just going out and running easy every day. It's actually doing workouts in the context of this amount of volume. And a lot of it's at really high altitude. So let's get into it. First day, and I was coming back from a disaster DNF at Val d'Aran where I only ran 50 miles, 80K. The last part of that was very slow, so I was pretty well recovered in terms of my muscles, but I wanted to ramp things up, last-ditch effort to try to get in shape for TDS, which is a 92-mile ultramarathon coming up. I'll put that in kilometers there, and it has over 30,000 feet of climbing, so it's a little daunting when you do these big weeks in training and you're not even touching the amount of climbing you're going to actually have to do in a race. And I'm looking at hopefully a 22-hour type of effort at TDS. It takes almost as long as UTMB because it's a pretty technical trail. Getting on the technical trails was important for this. So enough context, let's dive into it. First day of the week was Monday. STRAVA starts on Monday. I used to start on Sundays, but 7-day span doesn't matter. Monday, July 31st, I was coming back from the Front Range, so I stopped at the Kenosha Pass. I did a run on the Colorado Trail, rolling hills, 15.5 miles. I'll put that all in metric, convert it. It was an easy 2.5-hour run, pretty hot. It was in the afternoon. I did 24:15 vert on the climbing. That's in feet. So not super mountainous, but high altitude. You're up at pretty high at Kenosha Pass, so keep that in mind. Second day, the next day I had a quality workout. We call these significant workouts, where this was August 1st. I did a workout where I warm up a bit, 10, 15, 20 minutes easy, but then I go right into it. All right, day 2 of training, big training week. Tuesday, did a workout today, significant day. 4 times 10 minutes up tempo with a 5-minute easy jog recovery. Up on the High Lonesome course here on the Continental Divide, Colorado Trail. So pretty high altitude, up to 12,000 feet. Put that in meters there. Mainly like to escape the heat in town. It's actually been a warm summer and I didn't start super early in the morning. So good workout, felt pretty solid. The telltale sign will be the STRAVA data, of course, and I was wearing Chorus arm strap heart rate monitor band. So we'll look at that heart rate data and see on the 10-minute surges what I was hitting. Nothing too crazy, but faster than race pace intensity, and it's good for developing that power with the legs on some of the steeper climbs up near the top. I was also using my trekking poles because I got them back here in the quiver so you could see. Camelback Zephyr Pro Vest, it's got the trekking pole quiver, so practicing with the poles, practicing with some weight in the pack too, extra clothing even though I don't need it, because during TDS
you got to carry a lot of stuff. So if you're not used to carrying a lot of gear in your pack, your race pack, you better get used to it on workouts and long runs, because that's how it's gonna feel during the race. So I'll check out that Strava data there, see what was going on. But a big training week. So today it'll be a bit over 12 miles, 20K, and I think over 2,500 feet of climbing. Put that in feet and meters there, you could see it. So keep rolling forward. Definitely feeling a little bit of fatigue in my legs, but that's what you do. You train on tired legs, do a lot of climbing this week, and get in a lot of miles and time on feet.
Next day, August 2nd, I ran twice a day. It was a Wednesday. I did 8 miles in the early afternoon. It was an hour flat about on the bike path, which is 250 feet of climbing about. It's relatively flat, but we're still at 7,000 feet here in Salida. This is where I sleep and live at, so it's not sea level, but you know, pounding the pavement. I showed up for a group run. We do a beer run on Wednesdays where we go pretty easy and chill as a group, 3.7 miles with 500 feet of climbing in about 35 minutes. I had a beer after that too, because it's a social run. So got in some good mileage for that day. The next day, Thursday, August 4th, 11.8 miles. I did some gentle climbing up a road that goes into a trail, 17:16 on the vert, and it was an hour 45 out in the hot sun. You can see the clips there. You know, starting to feel it though. You feel the cumulative fatigue. You don't go into these runs fresh, that's for sure. The next day I had a big quality long run, probably one of my hardest, longest long runs in training that I do.
Look at that chorus hat. Anyway, Friday morning, early morning for me. I'm gonna try to get to the trailhead by 7:30 a.m. That's an early start for me, avoiding afternoon thunderstorms and the heat, but we're gonna try to do a long run today on gnarly terrain. 3 14ers, that's 3 peaks over 14,000 feet. Local ones, Chavano, Tabawash, and Taro. Gonna link it up. Part of it's on the Nolan's 14 line, so very rugged, steep technical, and then looping it on the Colorado Trail back to meet my car here. So yeah, I gotta carry a lot of stuff, a lot of gear, full gear basically, and get used to heavy pack and trekking poles. Also be at super high altitude, much higher than TDS. Realize that. And the way I have it mapped out on my CrossFit X2 watch, I'm using Strava, but you could also use the app, I guess, to map it out. It's going to be about 22.5 miles. I'll put that in kilometers there, and 9,000 feet of climbing about. So I'll put that in meters there. But high altitude and technical will be the name of the game today. So let's get up there. Look at this road.
I see some of the scenery there, but that was a long run. It was 6 hours and 45 minutes for me, and I carried a ton of gear in my Camelback. I had a reservoir. I had over 2 liters of fluids because I didn't have a filter, so I had a reservoir plus some soft flask bottles and a bunch of Spring Energy gels and stuff like that. I practiced with my full gear, even though it was quite hot that day, but 23.6 miles and 88.95 on the vert. So that's pretty high vert on a technical terrain where I'm hitting over 14,000 feet in elevation 3 times on these summits. So big long run effort. You know, it wasn't killer, but it was definitely not an easy long run. Next day, usually I would recover more, but I'm putting the mileage, 12.5 miles, gentle climbing, still 21:56 on the vert, and a 2-hour run. I got a little dehydrated. I was probably dehydrated going into it. It's been a really hot summer here, so you know, I drank a liter of fluid, but I should have carried more. My fault there, but you know, gentle climbing up the road trail there, great views. Still going up over 8,000 feet though in altitude. Final day, Sunday of the week, another 12.4 mile day, 2 hours and 23 minutes. That's 25:66 vert on the climbing, and I did this kind of rough Jeep road up towards a back trail that was kind of technical, and just enjoyed the sights and sounds. That was a low, chill day. Usually I take my Sundays pretty easy. So total for the week, 100.3 miles, it's 161K, 19 hours of running time, and 21,500 feet of climbing, 6,550 meters of vert. So again, like I said, that's almost what I have to do all in one day, hopefully in under 24 hours at the TDS. And I did this week several weeks ago, so it's not like I'm tapering now, don't worry. But I will say the note is the week after this we did Soft Rock, so I did another I did 120 miles the next week with over 35,000 feet of climbing, but it was a lot more chill, relaxed pace because we were filming Soft Rock, which is YouTube adventure series you could stay tuned for. We're coming out with day 2 and day 3 and day 4 in the future. But last note, thank you to all the Patreon supporters, title sponsor Hoka, keeping the dream alive. And this is the anatomy of one of my sample training weeks. I ramped it up hard, I ramped it up fast. I want to do well at TDS. It's on Monday night. I'm flying to Chamonix actually tomorrow, but the race goes off in Courmayeur at 11:50 p.m. on Monday night, and hopefully I could finish sometime Tuesday night, and it's not going to be Wednesday because I have some events lined up in Chamonix. Hope to see you out there. If I could finish TDS under 22 hours, that would be great. Just finishing's a big goal, and we've got a bunch of events lined up in Chamonix, activations with the sponsors, starting with that Wednesday morning. This will be not a social event, but a broadcast I'm doing with Free Trail, sponsored by Camelback, at 9 a.m. Oh, before that, 8 a.m. on Wednesday morning in Chamonix. I'll put the date here. Compressed Sport group run with a lot of top compressed sport athletes. I'm going to try to hobble my way over there. Might not do the full run because it's going to be right after I finish the TDS, hopefully, but you can check that out. I'll post more about it on social media, but 8 a.m. Wednesday morning in Chamonix, Compressed Sport group run. That'll be the first meet and greet that I'm doing, and then I'll be on the podcast or live streaming with Free Trail. We're going to preview OCC with Sally McRae and Dylan Bowman. And then after that, I've got some more events lined up. Thursday night with Camelback, but that's going to be Thursday night at 6 p.m. I'll be there. Hope to meet you there in Chamonix. Follow my social media at Sage Cande for more announcements for future events as well, because I'll be around all week, and I wish you the best of luck if you're doing one of the races, be it TDS, OCC, CCC, PTL, or the UTMB. So thank you so much. Hope you're doing well, and stay tuned for more VO2 Max Productions.